Hey, are we live? Perfect, perfect, perfect. Love to see it. Love to hear it. I guess I can't see or hear anything. I can just read it. I guess reading is seeing, isn't it? Dang, what a complicated world. Guys, society is too complex. Hello, 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 everybody. How are you on this beautiful, beautiful... Is this planetary ring, like, under the... It kind of looks like this is a halo more so than, Do you guys know what I mean? This doesn't feel like it's centered on the planet. I'm sorry, I just noticed that. It's starting to bug me. Oh, it totally is. Look at this. This isn't how an orbit works. That's just wrong. Hello, everybody. Sorry, what's going on here? That's just not how a gravity does. Unless there's like a huge gravitational mass right here, like more so than the rest of the planet combined. That would be ridiculous. That would be insane. I don't know what's going on there. Very, very, very crazy. Hey, so what we are going to be doing today is a little bit of a thing where last week I played in a ZeroSpace tournament, the ZeroSpace First Contact Invitational, and it was pretty freaking stacked with really good people. So I just want to talk about how it went, because it was a little bit disjointed. Originally, I was going to stream it, but then everything in the world was on fire, literally. So the air quality was really bad, and I just didn't want to have to, like, talk, because I thought it would be a really bad idea. A retrospective? How dare you? I have never made a retrospective in my life, and I'm not going to start now. That is offensive for you to say. I cannot believe it. I'm going to cancel you for that. Anyway, we're going to take a look at what happened in retrospect on this tournament. Unfortunately, there is a couple issues because we were playing on... First of all, this game is in early access. And second of all, we were playing on the tournament client, which means that I don't have all the replays. I have some of the replays that I played, but some of them just didn't save. Because they did like an update to the replay system a couple days before the tournament, and it just meant that some replays stopped downloading. So this is not all the games that I played. Instead, we're just going to look at what we can. Even canceled time to start a podcast. Yes, exactly. What I kind of want to do is just talk about what the tournament was, how I prepared for it, because I prepared a lot and I wanted to stream that, but once again, the air quality was bad, and it was like probably a bad idea. So then I just focused, I grinded, and then I went and did my best. And I'm very proud of what happened. Norification, thank you for the super. Watched that tournament. It was the most fun I had watching esports since 2016. I made comebacks against... Shh, don't spoil. I know it happened a while ago now, but yeah, it was... I had a very specific style, so I want to talk about what happened first. I hadn't played a game of Versus ZeroSpace in about 2 years. There was, when the Kickstarter came out, if you remember, I think that was 2024 in September. And for that Kickstarter, I played a couple games against Scarlet. And that was the last time that I played ZeroSpace Versus. So it had been a while, to the point where a lot of the people here had a lot more ZeroSpace experience recently than I did, which I found very funny. Because, you know, I've just kind of been not associated with the game recently, because I've been so busy with other stuff in real life. And then Katz came, Katz being the lead multiplayer designer and a friend of mine, and he was like, hey, we're doing this invitational tournament. Do you want to play in it? And my first thought was no. He was like, here's the player list. And I'm like, no, I'm going to get annihilated. I'm going to be absolutely destroyed. I didn't say that though. Instead, I was like, yeah, sure. Well, I'll try because I'm stupid. I'm okay with trying something once, even though I thought I was going to get really embarrassed. I thought that I was going to be absolutely destroyed. I thought it was going to be a really bad day. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it my best shot because the players in here were ridiculous. Let me go through the player list and just tell you about these people. There was Marine Lord, who was a very good StarCraft 2 player and then transitioned to being the GOAT of Age of Empires 4. He's like not even close. Like his prize winnings is pretty much equal to every other pro gamer's prize winnings in that game combined. He is so overwhelmingly above everybody. There is Mana, who is one of the best European Protoss players, and he has won, on-stage tournaments before. There was Pig, who's Grandmaster with all 3 races. There was Uppatry, who I believe is Grandmaster with Terran. There is Nathanius, who is a big caster, and I think he's a very good Terran player as well. There is Showtime, who is the best Protoss in Europe. There's Juggernaut Jason, who is one of the top Terran players in North America. There's Harstum, who, as you know, is good enough that he will randomly do stupid builds online, and then at the end of his video, it will come out that his opponent was Serral that he beat. Stuff like that. Jim Rising, who is the best Latin American StarCraft player a lot of the time, kind of bounces back, but he's been very, very good for a long time. The Viper, who is an amazing Age of Empires player, and Loco, who is also very, very good. This was a stacked tournament. It had really good players in it. And of course, me. I was here. What are my multiplayer accomplishments? I showed up to this tournament. So, you who has never heard of any of those names, how have you not heard of Harstum? How have you not heard of Loco or Pig or... That's crazy. Alistaria, thank you for the super. Thank you for the tier list for the campaign. But your friend has a lot of opinions. Stay giant. That's the most important thing. I'm trying to not stay giant in some ways. So what I did was I started talking with Cats about this tournament, and I was like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fill the gap where, what is it? I wanted to look at what the least represented okay, no, that's not actually true. What I first did was I jumped into versus AI, and I just started playing against the various AIs. I guess not versus AI. I went to custom games, and I started making customs and tested out all the things. And I was like, you know what? The Zol are now playable, and they're so freaking cool. I really want to play the Zol. These are the faction that I have decided that I want to play. And I told Katz that, and he was like, yeah, the Zol are not going to be ready for public release by the time of this tournament. They're only playable in custom games. So I was like, oh. Well, that sucks. I guess I have to pick a different faction. At which point I was like, okay, let's take a look at what is the least represented faction, and that is what I will pick. Because I think that would be the most interesting, right? Because, I'm still associated with the ZeroSpace, even though I'm not working on it. I want good representation of the game. I don't want it to be a bunch of mirror matchups. And there were a lot of Protectorate and a lot of Legion players, but not very many Grell. So I decided, all right, I'm just going to pick Grell. And that's what I did. And then I decided I was just going to figure out my own way to play. I didn't really care how people on the ladder were doing it. I did get some basic, here's what the meta is knowledge. Cats helped me out with that. And then what I did was I played a little bit with that just to get my bearings and figure out how the game works in multiplayer. And then I went to figure out my own builds. And then I just did that. I just kind of grinded my own thing. What I learned is that Grell is it's a strong faction. I think that all 3 of the factions are pretty darn strong right now. Grell is definitely good, but it's really, 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 really bad at expanding. You have to sit on one base for a really long time. That is the conventional wisdom. So what I did was I went in this tournament and I was like, you know what? I'm going to figure out how to fast expand as Grell. That was my entire thing. I'm going to play the faction that people aren't doing, and I'm going to try to figure out how to play the style that other people have not figured out. Was this a good idea? No. Did this hurt me and make me play a lot worse than I could have if I had just practiced normal styles? Yes. But I always feel better when I pick my own thing, right? I always say, if I sit down and I figure out what I want to do, I tend to be a lot more happy with games. So I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to try. And that context is very important for the replays we're going to go over, because you're going to start seeing a pattern. And that pattern is, there's a reason that other Grell players are not fast expanding. So my very first match, the way that it worked is it was a group stage where all of the people were split into 2 different groups, and you played best of 2s against everybody. So you could either go 2-0, 2 wins, 1 win and 1 loss against them, or 2 losses, and then it ranked everybody inside of those groups. So at the end, once you've played everybody, there's a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place. The first place people are all automatically in the round of 4, and then the 2nd and 3rd of opposite groups play each other to figure out who the other people in the round of 4 are. So that is the tournament structure. I did not know this going in because a lot of things were not clear and they were changed on the fly, and I had gotten really old rules. So yeah, we went into it, and my first game, I'm going to become tiny so I can talk about things, is against Up a Tree. And what I was hoping is that we would have a situation where I could explain what my gameplay strategy was as we moved through things. Unfortunately, the first game was insane. So I'm going to show you guys the first game. We're going to talk through it, and then in game number 2, I'll be able to show you what my game plan was. So Up a Tree, very strong Terran player. He's a pretty prolific Twitch streamer too. I am spawning as the Grell in the top left. He is the Protectorate in the bottom right. And he is going for what is a pretty modern build. It was only really kind of figured out a little bit ago. And it is a doozy. It is a very strong one that I kind of had inklings of. I had seen little bits of it before, but this was the first time I saw it in its like full power, and I was very caught off guard. What are the tentacles in my definitely not spawning pool? These are the resource harvesters. You start out with 4 of them, and then you grow 2 more over time. If you're playing as Grell, you can see the number popping up to get your money. It is the same as the workers over here. These are harassable, they're killable, they get rebuilt automatically, but you get money for killing your opponents. So what's going on over here? Oh, by the way, the replay interface, I do apologize for this, but the replay interface has bad animations. They're kind of buggy. Oh, I do cover the minimap, you're right. Sorry, there's an option to put the minimap on different sides, and I have it on the proper side, but I don't think that exists in the replays right now. Obviously, replays are just a thing that are being worked on still. They're not the highest priority. So I'm over here now. I don't think there's much interesting stuff I'm covering here. No, I'm just covering like the play pause thing. That's fine. So what we're doing over here, this is going to be very simple. We can kind of go into the initial things. Is there's 4 control towers on this map. Most maps only have 3. And as you control the towers, you get faction experience. And the faction experience allows you to get talent levels for your faction. And whenever you get a level up, you have a choice of 2 different faction-wide permanent abilities. It's kind of like your faction is a hero unit. And these quote-unquote hero units are actually more like... Whoa! Where'd you go, Vinthra? These hero units are a lot more like elites than anything else. Yeah, there's definitely some like weird things with the animations here. Like I was capturing the tower. You can see Vinthra was here, but for some reason in the replay it shows here. I'm going to try not to pause too much because I think the pausing messes it up more than anything else. So I am using Vinthra. Vinthra is the default Grell hero. Vinthra is pretty decent in a lot of the game, but very, very mid in the early stages. They have... Wow, the animations are really messed up here. I'm going to restart this replay and not pause things because I think that might fix it because this is just super jank. You noticed a lot of people seem to be confused by my pick of Vinthra. So Vinthra, yeah, that is worth talking about. Vinthra is not a good early game hero. And that causes a lot of problems, particularly with the fact that I am looking to fast expand. But Vinthra is actually very, very essential for what I am doing in the mid to late game. All right, are you going to be fixed? I think so. Let's hope that this works a little bit better. So the way that Vinthra works is they have a skill shot that hits a target and then blobs into a blob of goo. The blob of goo, we can probably see it right now. Dude, these animations are so... What is happening? Wow, this is wild. I literally watched this replay yesterday to make sure all this worked and it wasn't going this way. This is not how the game happened. I don't know what to do. This is bad. Oh, we're just gonna go with it. This might just be a bad game to watch. This is so funny though. So the way Vinthra works, they have an auto attack, which is fine. They have fire the shot, hit a target, and then explodes into this orb or a sphere, and the sphere does damage over time and slows. So it's pretty good, but in order to fight the little creeps guarding the towers at the beginning, you have to hit all of them with the orb and then drop them down to one shot with your auto attack radius and tap all of them once, which is a pain in the butt compared to what most of the other heroes have to do, which is a lot easier to kill the creeps. We might just have to skip to game 2. I'm sorry, this is insane. It looks like everybody's on ice. Where are we going backwards? Oh no! Oh, is it replay desync? The thing is, as I said, I watched this yesterday. Or maybe it was the day before. It was very recent though, and it was fine. This is so funny. So, as you're gonna see here, I don't really have the ability to fight straight up, but I can kill my own units for health regen. Which means that I get... We're just not going to talk about the hero stuff at the beginning of this game. We're going to talk about the overall things, and we're going to hope that the replays work a little bit better. Look, guys, I have a second base. This is crazy. I'm getting 3 of my basic production structures called the Brood Wombs, and I'm getting my Mercenary Valkaru War Vault. The Valkaru are one of the mercenary factions. Every time you get one, it's very important. They're all very good, and they use a charge-based system to get you more units. They also have individual heroes you can get. I don't like using the Valkaru hero. And, yeah, I use Vinthra in every single game in this tournament, even though you do have options. Every single mercenary gives you a second hero option, and I never use them because of the plan we will talk about in the future. Now, I'm going for these Lashers. Lashers are just kind of default, generic, good combat units. What I didn't know is that Up a Tree was going crazy and just annihilated all my stuff. This is a one base all-in with a ton of assembly plants, which are the tier 2 production. They make vehicles, and he is making these Predators, which are... Oh, you know what? That might be the problem. There's been a patch. There has been a patch since we played on this tournament, and these used to do bonus damage versus harvesters. Apparently the replays are taking the modern data. That's going to break everything, huh? Oh. Well, it is what it is. I just want to talk about the games anyway. Well, hopefully some will be better. Can I downpat? Brother, this is this is early access. I don't think so. We might not be able to talk about things as much as I wanted. That's a shame. So he was going for a very aggressive double assembly plant. I think he goes for a third one eventually as well. He's getting the upgrades for them on his thing. You can drop mines that don't do a lot of damage, but they slow. And then you can get a very powerful shield upgrade. Yeah, it's a lot like StarCraft 1 replays getting broken and desynced. Hopefully it doesn't ruin the games. So what ended up happening is he kind of annihilated my army with a very powerful ambush over here. Now that I know that I can go back and forth, that is nice at least. So, when did this happen? What? I'm so confused. Go back a little bit more. I want to see me lose my army. That's an important bit. So because these Predators are so fast, he ran across the map. I have a pretty reasonable army for this point in the game with my expansion. But because he's one base on a very fast unit skew, he was able to get over here, do a ton of damage. His hero has a stun, and I do try to run. I use my Grell recall home, but I lose everything and I waste the top bar power on it, which is a horrible start. And because he is right over here, I was in this position to try to defend these rich flux minerals. And unfortunately, my harvesters died. So this was a terrible, terrible, terrible spot. But I do have moderately decent SimCity here, where he can't really get onto these harvesting vines without going through a lot of stuff. One of the important things in ZeroSpace to talk about is that anything with a projectile, when it's trying to hit something across, will hit the building. So if you are, for example, if I have some lashers back here and he's attacking me, it will hit the building first, but I do not hit my own buildings. This is how you get defender's advantage in this game. So if you have a setup like this and you can get your ranged units behind here, it's pretty darn tough to attack into. So instead, he dives in. I use my mercenary cooldowns to get some Valkyrie Warhounds. They don't do a lot of damage, but they have hit points. And it is enough to just push him back a little bit, buy time for my hero to restart. He does get the mines, and his hero does have a turret, which he's able to drop, but I'm feeling horrible here. This is the first game of the day. I had to wake up early for this tournament. I'm not a good morning person. And he just woke up, and first game as he's one-basing me and caught me off guard. I'm like, uh-oh, this is going to be a terrible day. Everything in this day is going to be absolutely awful. But I do have a lot of infrastructure, and I had the hounds, and I managed to push things back, at least for now. You can see that he's harvesting with his harvesters. You can get 2 harvesters as both Grell and Protectorate on each of these flux veins. So he has a decent number, and he's expanding out of it, which means he's not super all in anymore because he did enough damage. But I have a moderate army here. He keeps using his top bar, though, in order to apply a shield to all of his harassers, and he has the upgrade that gives them a shield, which means he can get in, do a bunch of damage, and then he can get out and have taken no hull damage. Then he can just run over here and kill the harvester. I try to get this guy out, but he actually messes up. Then he comes back and takes it down. He keeps going for the vines. I upgraded my base to have an attack. It's not an insane attack, but it does mean that he can't just sit there. And I have like frickin' nothing at this point. I'm trying to expand my Grell grass a little bit. I build a turret over here near my harvesters because I need flux. This is a big thing about Grell is the Stinger unit, which is their Hexite only unit, the basic mineral type thing, is not very good. They really like flux a lot because the Lasher is way, 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 way better. At least in my opinion. So if you can deny their flux income a bunch, then suddenly they can't make the unit that they really want to be building up as their core. But at this point, I've actually kind of stabilized because this unit does not scale super well aggressively. They have been dying slowly over time and moving through the ground with their apparently burrow tunnel, but they have a pretty short range and they're pretty thick, which means that you can't have like 50 of them and do a ton of damage. I'm also on tier 2 and I have this unit called the Keeper. Keepers are really hard to see inside of the biomass. That is a thing. I think Grell has a visibility issue inside of their own biomass, which might be intended, but it's also not necessarily intended. Where are the top bars? You can see down here what the top bar power is, but we don't actually see them in the replays. As I said, the replay interface is not perfect. So these Keepers are really nice. Every time they lose 20 HP, they spawn a little dude that dies in one hit, but does soak shots and do damage. They're called Arcanids. And they can get overwhelming pretty fast. Let's see if they spawn. Yeah, there they are. And this is pretty nice because you kind of need AoE to fight them or a bunch of small fighters like the Commandos. These guys who fire really slow are not super good against the Arcanids, though I'm still losing these fights. It's just not it's not going great. I am playing Valkaru though, and once you get enough top bar energy, you can spend 22 of it to summon the Valkaru Beast, who has 1,000 hit points, and he hits really hard. And that is the reason that I stabilized. I was saving all my top bar energy, not infusing my units, and instead just waiting for the Beast, because I knew he couldn't hurt me if the Beast was here. Brother, you okay? He's really having a hard time. He keeps running around though, and this was bad. I wanted to retake this tower. I was like, okay, I think that I've stabilized. I think that I'm okay. And then he just runs in and kills all the harvesters over here. At which point, economically, he's ahead. He doesn't have all of his harvesters up here, but he is starting to take a third base. And I'm like, I have to get stuff done. I have the better tech because I've been focusing on it. I actually have a pretty decent army here. And he now is trying to give me the runaround to buy time until he gets a better army out. Because these predators just do... Oh, these are called predators, by the way. Which, they're much better than the StarCraft variants. I like them a lot, but they don't scale, so he's really trying to just buy time and give me the runaround in order to get more high-tier tech out, and I know that. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go try to kill him. And it actually works pretty well. This is a lot of keepers. They have 300 HP, which is a lot, particularly when they're spewing out little Arcanid guys when they take damage. My Lasher count is bad, and I think my hero is dead, but his hero is also dead, so I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna go for it. And, oh, no, there's Vinthra. How you doing, Vinthra? I don't know why I threw that there. I really shouldn't have, because it's an AoE slow, and I probably should have waited for the commandos. But we ended up getting the base. And then I kind of mess up here, and you can see the big beast goes up here. I lose a bunch of stuff to the Striker, but the Striker is kind of the Protectorate unit that you want to build up a lot of. Which means it's very bad that it died right there. It's very slow to build. It does 1 billion damage at a high range. And you can see that he's really struggling with these keepers. Because he only has a couple units at a time, which means he tries to target them down, but it summons so many little Arcanids, and he doesn't have either the number of attacks or the AoE to melt through them, that I actually did a lot of damage there. I killed the base, and then I pulled back, and suddenly, I have 3 bases, and he's down to 2. And I'm feeling pretty happy. He doesn't have great tech. I killed his really slow-to-build unit. I have 8 harvesters on Flux. He only has 4. So my technology is way better. That's the thing about Grell, is because you need the Flux, you end up getting a lot of Flux harvesters. Which means if you're on equal base, you're feeling really happy about things generally, because you generally have the better Flux income. He knows he has to get stuff done, so he pushes into here, but it's just so much of a front line at this point. These are infused keepers. Infusion is your top bar power as Grell. It allows you to put your little dudes in an egg for a bit, and then they pop out with bonus hit points and bonus attack damage. And putting them on the guys that have an HP threshold to make little dudes means you're getting even more little dudes. It's pretty good. I usually want to infuse my backline, the Lashers, because they do a lot of damage, and you keep building up a ball of more and more Lashers over time. But sometimes you want to do it right on the front line, and then they just have 1 billion HP. Man, this is messed up. I do apologize for this, guys. This is not what the actual game looks or feels like when you are playing it. It is truly just a mess up based off of the patch that happened, apparently. And it's messing up the replays. So at this point, I'm feeling great. I'd killed that base. I knew I had a really good position. I started taking all of the towers. He has 1 more level than me, but that's fine. Because now I have 3 out of the 4 towers. I'm going to be getting my experience. My tech is better. We're kind of equal on supply, but the commandos kind of supply heavy. It's a very basic unit, but it takes a lot of supply. So I don't know that we're on equal supply, but just seeing that, I will be down in supply in like every single game. And that is because Grell units just don't use as much supply overall. Does every faction have a recall ability? They all have some sort of recall ability, but it's all different. Like the Protectorate one is every unit you individually recall and it heals them, where the Grell one is a thing you place in an area and then it has a really long charge up timer and then you can recall with it. But it does a big group of units. And at this point it's kind of overwhelming. I reset the Striker count once again. I push in, he has his reinforcements and stuff. He has the ability to just throw a lot of units at the table because we both have good economies. But as long as I keep this ball of Lashers alive, I feel really good. So I'm just kind of poking. I don't want to dive in because the operating tower does a lot of damage. Your main base is pretty strong in this game to stop all-ins. Or at least make people commit to all-ins. So I just want to fight on the periphery. I want to poke these prospectors. Finally, I'm doing the harassment damage. He's dropping in whatever infantry he can, but the strikers, usually when they are in siege mode, they have like 26 range. So they could be back here firing the entire time, but I kept resetting that count, which meant he couldn't do that. And you're going to see him try this right here. He tries to get them in siege mode. I walk up, I kill it. That one's got really long range, so I pull back right out of range. I drop the Vinthra zoning tool, and I really like Vinthra because of this zoning tool. In the mid to late game, it's so good. Oh yeah, then there were 2 strikers there, and I'm like, I got a Valkaru Beast, what you gonna do about it? And he just walks up and punches this guy a couple times. And then he walks up and dies. But I managed to get on top of the other one. And that is kind of the core of Protectorate. That is the TLDR to take out from this mission is A, if you expand really fast, you can take a lot of damage and still keep in the game. That's the point of having more economy. And then B, if you can reset the Protectorate Hellfire count over and over and over again, 28 range, yeah, then they have a really hard time. They have to get that ball to be stronger and stronger and stronger. And then I have the coup de grace. This is my ultimate ability. It's called Deep Nest. It makes a ton of little Arcanids, and it makes these big boomers that deal a lot of damage to buildings. It takes damage over time, so you need something to heal it, otherwise it is going to expire. But it will, if it naturally takes damage over time to die, it will summon all of the boomers, which are the most important bit. So I'm kind of just YOLOing in. I have the highest tier tech, which is the Behemoth. He's on 1 base, and he is going to tap out very soon. I don't remember exactly what... Oh, I can look right here. He's gone. So the first game was kind of crazy in the amount of damage that I took early on. But it went pretty well because I managed to recover. It was very scrappy and very scary because he really did just wake up and choose violence, right? So that was horrifying for the first game of the day, but I was really jazzed that I managed to soak that much and then actually maintain the momentum, do the crackback, and get the kill. And that is going to be a big common theme throughout all of this, is I never start a game ahead. And that, being completely clear, is because my build is not good. This was actually really interesting. Because I had a build, I came up with it, and I knew that it wasn't exceptional, but I knew I wanted to fast expand, so I was just working on it. And then 2 days after this tournament, because I did this against a bunch of really good players over and over and over again, I woke up at like 4 in the morning, and I was like, I figured it out. And I've been beating 2K and 2.1K players since, which is, you know, like top 1, top 2, top 3 on the ladder with this new build that I came up with. It's really good, and I think I figured out how to Grell fast expand now. But I didn't know it for this tournament. So I'm doing a subpar version that always gets me beaten up in the early game. All right, let's take a look at game number 2. We are not going to go like normal speed throughout all of these. Also, that was a kind of long game. You can see that some of them are shorter, some of them are longer. This is game number 2. We're going to skip through the early game a little bit, unless the animations work properly. Because I do want to talk about Vinthra a little bit. But maybe it doesn't matter. Probably doesn't. Are you going to walk sideways, Vinthra? So the most important things to remember is that Vinthra cannot win the 1 versus 1 against other heroes unless Vinthra has the Consume ability. Consume allows Vinthra to either consume something nearby, an allied unit, to gain a bunch of health back and gain a speed buff, or the ability to consume herself to heal all of the units around her that are allied and give them a speed buff. So Vinthra cannot 1v1 other heroes unless you get low and you have a seedling nearby or something else to consume, and then you can win the fight. Because you come back, or at least you force them to retreat. Vinthra is not a good chaser because she is slow, and she has to hit people with a skill shot to slow them down. Now we have to talk about this bad boy. He's invisible right now, but this is hell. If you're playing the Moran Mercenaries, you have the ability to pick this hero. And he, in this tournament, was super frickin' imba. I think it was the day after or 2 days after, he was hit with a nerf to his auto attack hit. I guess I should explain him. Hell has 3 abilities. He has a snipe that does damage based off of his auto attack damage. It's a multiplier of it. He has an AoE grenade, and he has a cloak. 2 days after this tournament, his basic damage was nerfed, which meant that his snipe was also nerfed. His cloak was nerfed, and his grenade AoE was nerfed. Literally everything about this man was nerfed 2 days after the tournament. He was a monster. And the reason is because he is not actually good at taking towers or creeping, but he is the #1 player hero killer in the game. He is really, really good at brawling against other heroes, and he never dies because his cloak almost has a 100% uptime if you want it to. If you hit him with an AoE, you can uncloak him, but you have to hit him with an AoE. And then besides that, he is fast, and he does a lot of damage, and he snipes people. It is ridiculous. Is Hell still good, or was he nerfed into the ground? I don't actually know. I haven't seen. I'm used to the Imba version, so we'll see. In this game, you can see that Uppatry went for the normal Protectorate build. This is much more standard than what happened with the car all-in, where you go for a very fast expand, and then you go for 3 or 4 barracks, and you make a ton of commandos. This works really well with the Protectorate top bar. I wish I could show the top bar, but I can't. The way that it works is you can spend energy to put a permanent shield on troops, and that shield's durability is equal to 45% of their HP plus a flat 50. And if you can do basic math, that means that low HP things get a huge benefit from the flat 50. So being able to have a bunch of commandos with this shield that's almost as tanky as their entire hit points is really, 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 really good. Particularly for snowballing in the early game. Like, if you can just take fights and not lose... Wow, FPS going down. If you can take fights and make them lose stuff while you're only losing shields and just pull back, pull back, pull back, you're in a really happy position. So he manages to kill one of the vines. I am starting to get my lashers out. The lashers are going to be able to defend. He gets 25 Hexite every time that he kills one of these. And then he has the ability to get away. Just fire down the snipe. One important thing to remember about the... Oh, yeah! I forgot about this! This was... This confused me so much in the game. I gotta go back and talk about this. I told you that Hell is not good at fighting against the neutral creeps. And so he just ignored them. He completely ignored them. But then at some point during this push that he was doing, this really early aggression, he accidentally rallied one of his commandos through it. And where are they? No, oh yeah, what he did, I wish I had vision of the entire map. Because the creeps are somewhere. I think they're like up here or over here or something. He pulled them away with Hell and then used Hell's cloak so that they weren't on the point and he could capture the tower. And then he accidentally rallied some of his commandos over and accidentally pulled them. So somehow we got a flank with the creeps. And I was like playing on the defense. I was upgrading to a Bloomwell attacker. And then I'm like, where is he? I come over and I'm like, how is he creeping over here? What is happening? I got very confused. It didn't actually do any damage really to him, but it was very funny. And I push him back as a result. An excellent flanking maneuver. Exactly. Playing with the environment. And this is the thing that hurts me every single time, is as Grell in the early game, you want to have more than just 2 harvesters. 4 tends to be like the basic number. And that means you have to be outside of your base, mining from one of these flux nodes. And when you're fast expanding, you cannot get units out to defend these nearly as quickly. And these tend to get bullied a lot for me because my build was not as optimized as it is now. My modern version gets units out a lot faster and is much better at defending, and that's the big important bit. So I do feel pretty good because I took a little bit of damage, but, you know, that's to be expected. I have a nice economy, I have a decent number of lashers at this point, and I'm in the happy place with Vinthra because Vinthra has that you throw the poison AoE, And then it makes it really hard for people to chase you. Lashers have a really long range. I go for their range upgrade. You can either get a range or a speed upgrade for them. I don't have it yet. It's upgrading, I believe. And that means I can play the poking game. I just poke and I poke and I poke and I pull back and I pull back and I pull back when I can. Try to target Hell when I can to force him to run. And then there's more freaking stingers over here because he didn't clear the top either. And then I get hit by this too. And I'm just like, what is happening? This game is insane. And I know it's a Hell issue because Hell is really bad at fighting the little creeps. Oh yeah, in top left there's production tab, you are correct. It doesn't have any of the bars, but remind me and I'll try to remember to bring this up at all points in time. When I'm building a lot of Lashers though, I'm very happy, and I'm also playing the Chaw Crew, who are my most practiced faction and by far and away my most successful. The reason being is I really like these units called the Clackjaw. The Clackjaw have not very much HP, they only cost Hexite as opposed to the very flux heavy other guys, and they have 5 frickin' armor. Low HP, 5 armor frontline tank, and the Commando only does 8 damage. Which means these are really good at just walking up and soaking shots. However, Hell has the ability with his snipe, anybody that he snipes take 40% bonus damage for a while. So he can cut through them. But I really like the Crabs, they're very good tanks and they let the Lashers do a ton of damage. And I find a lot of success with them. I know that Chaw Crew is not the most popular of the factions. I think that the Endari are the most popular Grell faction, but I like the Chaw Crew and I find them very enjoyable. And you can see now things start going pretty well. He has these commandos, but they have to run from the crabs, and I do so much burst damage, I actually take Hell down, and now am able to start pushing. High ground is very important. You take 15% less damage on the high ground if you're being shot from the low ground. And that means that you gotta be a little bit careful if he builds up a fortification up here, but I have so much durability at this point, despite the fact that he has more supply, which is going to be normal every single time. I just want to flag this early. That I am able to start pushing into his base. And here I notice, I'm going to ask you guys, what is the critical flaw of this base? We did talk about the fact that if you are sitting behind your own buildings and the opponent is sitting in front, then they will block all of the shots. And all of the Protectorate buildings have a little healing drone, which means there is a very, very, very good defensive advantage here. So if you guys can see it, I want to see the first person that's able to call out this base, what the problem with it is. Because it's pretty darn important. Come on, you're strategically sound, you've been here. And do remember that he has the jump jet with his commandos, so he can like jump behind and stuff, very mobile. Because there's actually 2 different parts that are problematic though. Yeah, you guys are getting the one part that is correct, there's no place to walk and run. Which means that I can drop Vinthra's AoE slow right here, and it makes a really tough gate. But there's another problem, and it is that the assembly plant is right here. And as I said, you have to get those striker numbers up if you want to be able to fight Grell. And this is a 1-2 punch that goes really, really well for me, or really, really Grell for me. I end up pushing, be like, hey, AoE slow, good luck, you don't want to stand in that dot, do you? And then I push back a little bit more, and then I'm like, all right, good luck. I'm going to take down your production facility. Enjoy being on only commandos, bro. And suddenly, he's all on tier 1, and it feels very bad. And he can micro for days, but it doesn't really matter because I just got a huge advantage. It made a lot of sense for his production at the time. Formation-wise, it was pretty decent. But it was that 1-2 combination that gave me a huge advantage there. And now he has to go. He has to do something because I'm going to have the tech advantage. He does manage to take down the crabs because I don't quite have my front line built up yet. It is worth mentioning the way that I play this is I build 3 brood wombs for Lashers very quickly. Then I start putting crabs into the mix. Then I start putting keepers into the mix. And then I start putting the other Chaw Crew mercenary in. The Chaw Crew are special because they have 2 different mercenary compounds, which each get charges independently. And 2 of them are Very good defensive options. And I like them in front of the lashers for a bit. I'll talk about why once I actually get them, because it's easier to know when you see. But it does mean that if you cut through the defenses in the early game, I do have to run away a little bit. But now even a couple keepers mean I'm in a great position, and the fighting finally stopped, so I have the ability to infuse my units. Another thing that's really important to mention as Grell is when you're playing Protectorate, if you want to apply your top bar shield, it is instant. But if you want to infuse as Grell, I would say infuse is more powerful than the shield. But it takes a while. It takes 5 seconds, I think. Which means you can't really do it in combat. You need to disengage. So I was building up a lot of top bar energy, because you get top bar energy based on your units dying, and a steady trickle over time. And that meant that, well, I didn't have as many powerful units as I should have. And he was continuing to shield stuff all throughout the fight, which was good on him. He pushed me back, he took all the towers. He does have this Moran talent that gives it, in this, it says 35% bonus XP. In reality, it's 40% during the tournament. It was nerfed after. Moran was nerfed a lot after the tournament, like a lot. So he does have the level advantage. I am fighting to take back the towers, and now I have a very, very thick army that can kind of just try to control things, and then I want to go for another push. When we were chasing him up here before, when we went over here and killed this, I scouted he didn't have a base over here, and I believe I got vision over here at the same time. So I knew at that time that I was kind of safe, but now he's got a pretty good economy. It's the tech that he was reset on. But I'm like, well, if you're only on commandos, I can probably just kill you. So I go for it. He has the ability to, it's a stim whenever you use jump jet, which is quite good. He starts poking back and forth, and I push him back, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I've seen this before. I just kill it again. And then it is the 10-minute mark, and this man has not been allowed to get tech outside of commandos. And he's doing his best, but like, what are you gonna do? If you don't have technology, you are so fundamentally limited. He has the ability to drop in new troops, but those new troops are not doing anything because they're just commandos. And he pushes me back for a bit. I actually, my harvester, after it did, I don't know why it went over here, but it ended up dead. I'm like, I'm gonna drop a turret over here, why not? And then it died. But the game's kind of over at this point. I know it doesn't seem it because the supply is even, but I have infinitely better tech. I'm getting all of the highest tier stuff. He's making his 3rd attempt at getting tier 2 tech. So we just kind of dance a bit. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna go. Hell's kind of annoying still because he can be invisible and he can poke. I don't want the unit counts to be too small while that's all happening. Just make sure I have my bases. I should have expanded faster, but I was like, I can kill him. So I just kept trying. And we poke. And then I'm like, okay. I have my behemoth. It's time to murder. Behemoth is big AoE damage, and it fires a fireball onto the ground that leaves an AoE dot. Very good against these small units. It is my top tier unit, finally a counter to the Marine. All it takes is tier 3. But it is a good counter. I go behemoths a lot in this, because they are a bit of inevitability. He's finally got a striker on the field, but I have tier 3. I push. Oh, this is the part. Remember how I said that these pop out boomers that do big AoE damage? Like, the game is over at this point. I'm in a really good position. As I said, the supplies are so weird because when you lose units in ZeroSpace, you get top bar energy. And the Protectorate can use their top bar energy to get basic tier units, which is always a bit confusing because the supply looks really, really good for a while as Protectorate because they can kind of artificially inflate it with more and more reinforcements, and then it suddenly catastrophically collapses. So remember when I said the boomers? He's like, I gotta kill this! And then the boomer instantly spawns and kills a bunch of them. Oh, it was brutal. Oh, it was so good. And then he leaves the game. And there's going to be no GGs or anything. There's no chat whatsoever because the chat was broken in the tournament. So it is what it is. But I was feeling pretty okay. 2-0 in the very first thing made me feel solid. He had played hundreds of games in prep for this tournament because everybody's ladder stuff was public, so I knew he was very practiced and I felt very good. And then I was playing in the next set against Pig. Pig is obviously a very good RTS player. He's very smart, and he has been involved with ZeroSpace for as long as I have. So we're pretty equal. In fact, as I said at the beginning of today, the very last time that we played, or rather the last time I had played a versus thing before this tournament started, was in that game against Scarlet, and Pig was the one casting it. Like, he's basically the same knowledge level as me. Unfortunately, that knowledge means that he's playing Protectorate, and he is going hell every game, which is very rough. I'm going to skip through the early stages here because they're pretty similar, and I've explained them at this point. I don't remember exactly what happens in the early stages. They kind of run together. But he does do a really good job of using the thing to steal my kills. You get 5 hexite per kill of creeps here. And that means that creeping really early is good for fast expanding because it takes 400 hexite to fast expand. I like getting the money. Some people like focusing on the towers for experience instead. Both of them are very good. So Hell pushes me back. Vinthra does have the ability to burrow underground and retreat home anywhere that there's biomass. And then your basic structure, your basic food supply structure called the Bloomwell does, or Nourishing Pod, excuse me, does give you a heal. So a lot of the time I will run forward with Vinthra, take damage on her, retreat back, heal up, and then just go out again. That's kind of my basic MO. I had to flip a coin on which tower I was going to go to, and it ended up being the one that Pig was at. But Pig is not good at fighting the things because he is on Hell, which means he took a bunch of damage, so I was able to push him off. Which usually you shouldn't be able to do with Vinthra versus Hell, but it felt good. Then we just do some tower taking stuff, we dance these back and forth, and it's a very standard game again. Very, very standard, a lot of the same ideas as what you saw last time, but he wasn't as aggressive with commandos. Instead, he focused on the experience economy on the towers that Up a Tree didn't. He's trying to harass, and he's doing good, and you can see the annoyance of this cloak. I think there are detectors in this game, and I legitimately have no idea what any of them are or how you get them. So I should really figure that out, because his cloak is very annoying. I usually just try to hit him with Vinthra's AoE, and then if it doesn't work, I just cry. So I need to figure out the mechanics of this game a little bit better. Then he has the commandos. I have my Chakru. I went Chakru game 1 here because I really do find a lot of success with them. Oh, the important thing to note is after a game that you play a mercenary faction in this, you cannot play that mercenary faction again. So, you know, this is my one Chakru. That is a very important rule in this tournament. However, I'm going to put an asterisk there because what I told you is not exactly true. So what we did right there, this is my MO. This is like the core of what I really like to do, and it's important to state it. I took a fight. My crabs took a bit of damage, my lashers took a bit of damage, nothing really died. And then I used Vinthra's ability to consume herself to heal everyone in an area. That means my entire force is topped up. You see this blood, it is not my blood. And then I teleport Vinthra back home, restore her, and then we head back again. And that's what I want to do. I want to do very small pokes over and over and over. I want my front line to take damage but not die. And I want to just get enemy kills during that process and then do Vinthra's heal. You can see I pull the crab back here. I pull the crabs back. I did lose one crab, which is honestly big noob energy. Pathetic. I should be embarrassed. Then I do the heal. I retreat back. And I like this. It makes me feel very good. Unfortunately, it does have the vulnerability that sometimes my hero's not with me. And that means that Pig is able to push in. He takes a slot. And we're just fighting for these towers. I have the tower over here. I had this one, but he's fighting over it. My lasher is looking the wrong direction. But I just want XP against him. This is a weird map. This map is really, 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 really small. The distance between my base and his base, all the way around, but you know what I mean, is very short. But these attack angles suck. It is so hard to attack your opponent because you have to like come up here and then up this ramp. or you have to walk all the way over here and up this ramp, or you have to go like all the way around here to have an open space to attack into, or blindly attack up this ramp. It's a very interesting design that makes it miserable to attack, despite the fact that it's very small. So, yeah, what I focus on is just the experience economy here. I want to get a lot of experience. I have my second Chakru unit here. This is the Rageborn. I like them because they are very, very thick, right? We talked about the Clackjaw before. It has 5 armor, and it's a heavy armor type unit. So if you have a unit that does bonus versus heavy, does bonus versus it. Besides that, really hard to kill. The Rageborn is another Chakru unit. It has no armor, but it has 625 health and medium armor type. So the reason that I am doing this is you get 2 different very tanky units that require different answers. And that means that your front line is not vulnerable. My backline kind of is vulnerable because it's mostly Lashers, and Lashers are all light armor and they have barely any HP. But I focus on having a very diverse and difficult to deal with front line so that the Lashers can do as much damage as possible. That's my logic going into most of the games in this tournament. That's just how I want to play. And it seems to work. Like you can see, he's not quite ready for these. They do like a big AoE ground slam and stuff, but theoretically, these guys should like never actually get to attack. A good player will just kite them forever. And we just have to be like, yeah, they're very durable. Good luck getting through them. You may kite them, but I'm dealing damage with the Lashers in the process. We end up splitting up. He does a little bit of harassment over here. I pull it back. He tries to poke over here, but I don't want to fight 2 places in once because he had his hero in one place and I didn't. We're both playing pretty reasonably here. Nothing super exciting is going on, but we're just taking towers over and over and over. He's doing a little bit of scouting. He sees I have a third base. I believe I have vision that he took this third base as well. I checked it. So we both know we're playing a macro game, and he's poking around with the commandos, but never fully committing to things. Until right here where he does something very good. If you remember, when I was playing against Up a Tree, he went for the top bar ability Reinforcements, so he could use his top bar to spawn reinforcements. Pig, on the other hand, went for the Airstrike talent, which allows you to have a top bar airstrike power. And he does a very good thing here, where he splits me up and then he does 2 different airstrikes in different positions, because my vision is, I think it's, where is it, like this? I think it's a little bit closer than this is the max you can do while actually playing. So I had something that looked a little bit like this. I'm like, okay, that's going to hurt, but I'm going to be able to dodge it. And I just didn't see this one, which was on a different screen. This was really good from Pig, because the Lashers get one shot by the AoE if they're not infused. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger. I can't quite get it the right size, but I genuinely didn't have vision of this. And I saw the plane, I saw the thing, and I'm like, I can split away from that to the best of my ability. And yeah, I think we did get clipped by it, but not as bad. And then I realized, oh, I lost a bunch over here. It was really smart play on Pig's part. You can tell that he just has a lot of very good RTS instincts from a lot of play. Unfortunately, I did murder Hell during all of this. This is his mercenary producer, and he brought it out here. His has the ability to fly around and fire a pulse bombardment with the top bar. He did that earlier. It didn't do anything. I dodged it. But unfortunately for him, that is going to hurt him a lot, because his late game, he wants to go for the ultimate Moran mercenary, which is the Halo tank. But I killed his mercenary compound. He wasn't able to get it away, which meant he lost all the accrued charges on his mercenary compound. It's 90 seconds per charge. So now, once he gets the tech unlocked, instead of being able to pop 4 of them down, he's going to be able to pop like 1. And I didn't know this right now, but it becomes evident as time goes on. Even though I took a big airstrike fight, I'm feeling pretty good. My supply is very high, and I push in. I know this is a bad position. I talked about how it's very hard to fight here because the AoE is really hard. But also, you gotta murder somebody sometimes. So I just kind of charge in here, and I'm like, alright, I'm gonna go for it, see what happens. I got the base. He doesn't have the troops to defend. And I'm like, well, if he doesn't have the troops to defend, I might as well just get hit by an airstrike, which hurt really bad. And then fighting up here is so hard. I don't have vision of it. I don't want to go. I don't know what he could have. I know this has turrets. I know this has healing things. I was too scared. I should have murdered him. I could have murdered him. But I was full of fear. He runs around with a couple commandos instead, and I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to clean this up. I'm going to take the map back, get all my experience. He's ahead in level still because of this stupid life path thing. Oh, it's very frustrating. The way the bonus experience you get from it means you don't really have to have the towers and you'll still be even in XP. And if you're trading the towers back and forth, you're always going to be ahead. But the negative is that you basically lose your second level talent, right? So there is a trade-off. But I've been doing pretty good at keeping all the towers, and it just doesn't really matter. And then he is good at firing these. I also suck against AoE. It's just not a thing I have a lot of practice against, is dodging stuff like that. So I'm still working on it, but at this point, the macro has just gone crazy for me. I'm mining off a 3 base. I'm like, he should be rebuilding this third. I'm going to let him try to split me up because I think I can win the fight on every side. Crabs are over here. We can target down the base over here. He's trying to fight crabs over here. He doesn't manage to do it on either side. I love the crabs so much. It is my baby. Then I'm like, yeah, maybe I should just try to murder him. I'm kind of scared that I'm going to throw if I wait too long, but I'm also scared that I'm going to throw if I don't wait too long. If I just try to force the issue. So I'm like, where do I go? He fires that off, and then I was like, you know what? He probably doesn't have any more airstrikes right now, so I'm just going to YOLO. And then he had more airstrikes right now. Because I have bad game sense. Not that much experience yet. And he pushes me back again. And now he didn't have airstrikes, and I should have felt more confident. I pulled the very last one out, and then I ran away. But then I'm like, okay, he's probably out of airstrikes. It wasn't smart. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I have the Chakru ultimate unit. This is the Hatun. This man does a lot of damage, and now he's stuck. He does a ton of damage, though, and I can start sieging down the buildings with it. It's got a ton of durability. I can just target the base with it. His animations are a little bit messed up, so sometimes he looks like he's just staring at things when he's actually attacking. And now Pig is on 1 base. I'm like, all right. I figured it out. I shouldn't have been a coward, and then somehow at the end of the match, once again, a single behemoth shows up, and he's like gonna take all the credit, because that is 100% of my games, is the behemoth shows up and then the game ends. He's a good boy and I love him. Pig, are you gonna leave? Got 20 more seconds. Yeah, he tries to retake the base. There are destructible rocks here for another way in. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna fight this. Take it down. And he's gonna leave. And then I learn something. Because IRC, he was relying on getting more value out of the mothership. Yeah, the mothership is very good. I take high priority in sniping it because the pulse bombardment and the amount of tanking, the amount of tanking it can do is insane. It can be very, very good. But losing it was pretty bad. So game number 2, I make a really big mistake, or rather we didn't know the rules going into this. So I have to switch off of Chakru because the game, you can only play the mercenaries once per game. That's what we both understood. And then in between the matches, he checks the rules, and it's actually when you win with a mercenary faction, you have to switch off of it. So he's like, I'm going to play Moran again. But I had already declared that I was going to play Valkaru. And Valkaru does not work against Moran. I have a very specific Valkaru build that is really, really strong, but it doesn't work against Hell. Because Hell has the ability to snipe and cause the target to take 40% more damage. And this is a build that relies on individual really high HP units. And I didn't want to be that guy. So we're going to get into this one. I should have read the rules better. I didn't really understand the mercenary picking thing until we got into it. And I didn't want to be that guy and be like, well, actually, no, I want to change after we talked about that. So I stuck with it, and it's not going to go well. This is going to be my first loss in the tournament. It's bad. This is a prime one base all in that has been nerfed since. It's really good, and I proceed to not do well with it. It's a really strong Tobot all in. The Tobot is a weird unit. It has the ability to pull things in an area, in a cone, and it has a very strong heal. And the idea is that you do a one base all in where you're basically abducting a bunch of units over and over and over again and healing all your stuff up in the time where healing is really good, which is the early stages. I managed to kill Hell here, which is insane. I was feeling so good at this point. I was like, wait, I'm not supposed to be able to win this. Hell is supposed to be able to melt me, but maybe I can make this work. So I go over here. I try to take the next tower. I micro my little heart out to kill all these little guys. I have 3 bases, I have lashers, and I'm feeling so freaking happy about things. I have all of my harvesters going. And the key to this build is I'm waiting for level 2 until I get my Tobots. The reason is that when you hit level 2, you can pick either the default Grell talent, which is faster building construction speed, or a mercenary talent. And the mercenary talent for the Valkaru is every time you recruit a Valkaru mercenary, you get a Valkaru Hound as well. Just a single one, but they are a frontliner with a lot of durability. So I build up 2 charges of the mercenary stuff around the time that I hit level 2. Then I get 2 mercenaries at the same time, get 2 extra hounds, and then I go. That is the idea. And the fact that I was able to kill Hell meant I got these towers early, so I was going to get the talent, and I have it already. And then I made a mistake. A really bad mistake. Because the Tobot takes the tier 2 structure. And this game has a queue system. And the queue system is usually really, really good. You set things up, you queue it, and it almost always builds properly. But with tech stuff, every once in a while, the queue gets stuck. And they just get stuck on the hallucination thing. Even though you have the money, it doesn't build. And I had the money, I had the incubator queued to get tier 2 so I could get these Tobots out, and it just didn't build for a really long time. And then it was time for the Tobots, and I looked back and I was like, oh no. I have to wait like another minute. At which point I'm like, dang, if I had noticed this, then getting the faster building speed on my structures would have been really good. So unfortunately, this gives Pig a long time to build up. He expanded, which means his setup is slower than mine, and I'm supposed to hit with the timing, but my timing is like more than a minute late now. And it's in a bad matchup because of Hell. But I'm like, well, I have to try. So I get the Tobots. The Tobots have that ability to grab people in, just like that. Then he has to pull back. I use the Valkaru Beast, who this is supposed to be the crux of the play, is that this man has 1 trillion hit points. He has 1,000, and the Tobots can heal him, and he does a lot of damage. So you can abduct people into the lashers, the Tobot can keep this guy alive, and this guy goes crazy tanking when the unit count is really low. It's a good strategy. Unfortunately, it's not going to work. So I do get an abduct on Hell. He gets the cloak off. I'm poking, trying to do my best here. And yeah, I can't quite get into range to do my abduct. I'm hitting the buildings, and then I mess up my hotkeys too. This was just a terribly played game on my part. I was supposed to heal the thing. I don't have a lot of experience all-inning because I don't like all-inning, but I wanted to do this thing. I lose one of the Tobots, and Hell does these really good snipes. He snipes it, and that gives a 40% damage bonus. Then he can take down the Tobot. That means it has no healing on the Beast, so he takes down the Beast. And I lose. I just get absolutely crushed. Pig played this amazingly well. I should not have been doing this attack into Hell. It was a terrible mistake, and my execution was absolutely abysmal. I think it was the worst game I played of the entire day. And Pig capitalized on all my mistakes. I don't want to say that it was me being bad entirely. It was me being bad and Pig being very good at understanding that I was making mistakes and then punishing me for them. You can infuse the Beast, which is really cool. Gets even more HP, does more damage. I try to hit in. But I don't really have anything, and he's able to snipe and then assassinate the beast once again, despite it being infused. And even then, the fight is kinda close, but he gets the Halo tanks out to do a lot of AoE, and I die. So, well played on Pig, he crushed me. It was not a good game on my end. It was bad. Fun fact, the Tobots used to damage? That would be ridiculous. That, I mean, it already got nerfed, the healing got nerfed. Now we have set number 3, which was me playing against Marine Lord. Spoiler alert, Marine Lord wins this tournament with a score of 15-1. This is not the one. But we do have a Legion player, which is very exciting. No more Protectorate. So I can talk about the Legion a little bit. I can talk about the game itself. I am not good against Legion. Legion is the faction that I'm worst against because... How do you guys feel about disruptors? You know? How do you guys feel about disruptors? They're not my favorite unit in StarCraft 2. They're what caused me to quit playing StarCraft 2 ladder. And unfortunately, 2 of the heroes in the Imperium are disruptors. I really don't like playing against this faction. I find it very tilting. So, this is Gallivax. Gallivax is pretty good against the creeps. He just fires his ball of fire and they all die in one shot. He also has the ability to throw a spear that slows things down, and he can use the spear on his own stuff to sacrifice a thrall and do a bunch of healing. Ignore that, that was bad. I just didn't want him to attack me while I was trying to get this point. I'm scared of Marine Lord. I know he's very good, so I don't want to brawl his hero early on. Even though Vinthra is like moderately okay at brawling against that specific hero, I'm like, he's probably just going to out-control me. I don't want to lose the game instantly because I lost my hero at the 2-second mark. So what I do over and over is we do this little bit of fighting and then I teleport home. He gets this and I'm like, okay, he probably has these 2, but I know he went here first. So what if I go to this tower over here? That's not what I do. I go, what if I take this tower over here because I know he's over here? Then, do I do what I think I do? Yeah, then I'm like, okay, what if I go over here? Because the thing about Imperium is they get their units out very fast. Theirs are very, very cheap. So, and they don't take any flux, the thralls. So you can go expand into 4 barracks thrall production and get them out real quick. So I'm like, I'm just going to try to grab what I can. Unfortunately, he has the same idea. He goes over there. And then we just play the, hey, I'm going to try to take these towers a little bit at a time to stymie your XP growth as we get into a later game. These thralls are not commandos. They have 70 HP. It's like nothing. They're kind of infinite. They're kind of more Zerg than anything else. But there's a lot of them. Here I get the Chakru Chosky. Now, you'll notice I didn't get the crab. Why is that, Giant Grant Games? Well, I told you before that there are 2 different temples that you can recruit mercenaries out of for the Chakru. There's this one here, the Temple of the Stars, which builds crabs, and then there's the Temple of Amtrak that builds the human units. I built the wrong one. They look the same. So I'm supposed to have crabs here, and I'm like, well, these guys don't take any flux, so I built these guys. They're okay, they run really fast. They have an attack, they're not terrible, but it's not a good start. Their ability to run fast means I can cap this temple, though. So I charge forward, and I actually get some pretty good AoEs. I just want to stack AoE damage from Vinthra onto these, but there's so many of them, and that's how this matchup goes. It looks horrifying all the time, but you have to remember these kind of suck. Like, they're truly abysmal. They do 7 damage, their range is really short, they don't have upgrades. There's just a lot of them. There is enough to push me off of the high yield flux once again. I did push him off of the high yield flux as well, so it is pretty even. And I actually am doing really well with the towers now. It's 2-2, when I should be behind. We both have expansions, I'm feeling kind of alright. And then I get my crabs, and I'm so happy it's time to go to war. And dude, that was a great AoE. Honestly, the early game here is not going badly. I'm pretty happy with it so far, despite the fact that I messed up my crab thing. We're kind of poking back and forth. This is a common thing on this map is there are these 2 towers. They're very important, but this area is non-pathable, which means you end up like dancing back and forth, recapping them over and over and over again. It's very silly. So I have vision here. I want to make sure he's not mining this high yield flux. I don't feel safe to mine this high yield flux, so I just don't do it. Instead, I'm just trying to make sure he doesn't get an advantage over me. And I think he feels the same way. It's all about spotting right now. Trading these towers over and over. And then here, I'm like, well, I mean, I'm not going to win the late game against him. He's better than me, so I'm going to see if I can get him. He's kind of out of position. So I poke in. He gets a pretty good attack with his Inquisitress hero, who does some AoE, and then he has the ability to slow my infused Chakru. But I'm okay with this. And then he gets another really good AoE, and he fires the Fireball. You have to run from the Fireball, but I did kill the Inquisitress hero, which feels very good. He kills a couple of my crabs, but one of the benefits is the tier 2 Chakru talent is Immortal Lineage. Every 90 seconds, one of your Chakru units revives when killed from each of your temples. So the crab is just back. Welcome back. And then we start fighting. And you're going to see me putting up a pretty decent fight, but I am going to get very slowly whittled down. That is the TLDR of how Marine Lord plays. He is not decisive, per se. He is persistent and relentless, but I'm doing really well right here. He's trying to push into my rally, but I'm chasing him back really nicely. The Inquisitress is dead, and I almost get Galvalax, but unfortunately, he barely gets his recall off in time. Now, I am going to complain about that later, because the Galvalax interaction, not quite equal both ways, due to the way that the hit scan stuff works. But I was pretty happy with that fight. He has his third hero, Rhaegar, out. We push back again. I get the Inquisitress once again, and then we kind of poke and retreat and poke and retreat and poke and retreat. He's starting to do more and more AoE with his heroes. This stuff doesn't develop. It doesn't get any better as time goes on. The thralls, but the heroes do. He's getting upgrades for them. But truly at this point, I'm kind of okay. He is very good at taking slow amounts of damage to the army, though, and never truly fully committing. I hate this style of RTS, I'm going to be completely honest. This is one thing I dislike about competitive both StarCraft and really any RTS, is that the correct way to play almost ever is never engage in a full frontal fight and just keep playing the chip game, and I find that so boring. I want to fight my armies in the war game. So I get impatient because I don't like it. And I know it's stupid. I know it's really, really, really stupid, but I just want to fight. So he's starting to get some of these Dark Disciples, which they do not very much damage with bonus versus heavy, but their damage scales up every time that they attack. And we both end up trading bases here. And I make a terrible, terrible, terrible mistake. Because I get this base. And if I was more experienced, I would have won this game right here. He has not killed this base yet. It has a ton of resources left. I kill this. He had only just made this base. It's not mining. And I'm like, okay, I have vision of it. I knew it existed. I'm going to go over and kill this as well. And then I'm going to recall to defend my base. It's going to be 2 base versus 2 base, except for the fact that I have a better economy. This is a misleading number for harvesters because it takes 3 harvesters of whatchamadinger to be 2 of mine. So he effectively has 6 versus my 7. And everyone knows that in 6-7, the 7 is better, because 7, 8, 9. All I have to do is recall to this Bloomwell. Which you can do. There is a button on the Bloomwell that you click, and it sets that as the recall location. I learned this after this fight. I did not know this at this point in the game. I didn't know that was a mechanic. So, first of all, my recall is really slow, because I'm kind of overwhelmed. There's a lot happening and I'm playing against one of the best players in the world. So my recall is too slow, but the base is still alive. And if this recall force had been here, the base would have not died. My army would have been on top of him. I would have won this fight very cleanly with what I had and the defender's advantage. It would have been a slaughter. You can also click on the town hall location on the minimap. I don't think so, not with the Grell one, because the Grell one, you click on the ground to place. Whenever you cast recall, if you're... Oh, next click. So there's no, like, interface for it. You just have to know. Yeah, that's the type of stuff that you just have to learn over time. I had no idea. That's a very convenient feature. I did not know that until exactly right now. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I just genuinely didn't know you could recall to anywhere besides your main base until exactly now. I would have won this game. The supplies are lopsided, but his army is really split up. I killed the bases. It's 2 base versus 2 base. I had the better army here. He had not good retreat potential. I would have done so much damage. But I just didn't know, so he manages to kill the base and leave. And I feel very silly about it, because that's just an experience issue, right? Just an experience issue. He catches me out in the open. We brawl a little bit. I do a pretty decent fireball dodge right there. And as you can see, I'm pushing him back. If I had a better position, it would have gone even better. He can use the fireball and the Rhaegar shots to push me back, but unfortunately, now I'm on 1 base. I did try to re-expand up here during all of that, but he did send his second army over there. And then because he has 2 armies instead of 1, completely overwhelms me and takes me down. 100% in this game, I think I could have actually taken it, but Marine Lord was way more decisive than me. You know, you can feel the experience that he has from playing a ton of games, and thus he was able to be like, okay, I do this, 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 and this in this scenario, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go over here, and then I guess I go over here, oh, and I got a recall, and oh, I didn't know how to do that, and it was just a little bit slow on every single thing, and he got the win. Unfortunately, this is where the replay bug happens, and I don't have the second game against him. It's it didn't download. I also don't have the first game against Mana. So if you want to see the first game against Mana, it was another game against Hell, and Hell very slowly peeled me apart. If you want to see Hell as he is supposed to play against a macro thing, yeah, he did really, really well. You can watch it on Wardy's Twitch channel. The VOD is still up, and you can check out that VOD. I think it's on his YouTube as well. And you can see me play game 1 versus Mana. It was a fine game. I tried my best, but he played really, really, really nicely and just pulled me apart from the beginning with Hell. Then we have game number 2. And game number 2 is one of the best games in this entire replay pack. I really liked it. So, Mana, for those of you who do not know, I need to drink. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. Mana, for those of you who do not know, is an OG StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 player. He, in Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm era, he was arguably the best Protoss at times in Europe. Really good. Has won major on-stage tournaments, has been in Team Liquid for over a decade. He is an absolute boss. He's not like as crazy as he used to be, but he has a YouTube channel where he does a lot of fun challenge stuff with 1 versus 1, which is very cool. And yeah, he's very talented. And currently I am down 1-0 to him in this series. I lost the first one. It was about a 16-minute game, back and forth, but he had an edge from the beginning. He played really well. But because he won that game, he wasn't allowed to play Hell again. And thus, I feel a little bit safer about things. You can see he's going for the scouting drone. The protectorates that I played earlier didn't do this. You can build it off the main thing for 15 bucks, and then if you want to give it a shield, you can use your top bar for like 2 energy. It's pretty good. And he's very good at bullying me away with Aster. Aster has a jump jet, he has an AoE stun in a cone, and then he has the ability to drop a turret. This turret has a very long cooldown, but it's super hard to deal with in the early game because there simply are not good combat units that can fight it. So he walks over to my expansion, and right on the harvester thing, he just drops the turret, and I cannot contest it. Instead, I decide to go over here and recap this tower to have a little bit of time, then dive home. And by that time, I have a unit out, so I can actually do something. This was good harass on his part because the feeder vine respawns here every single time until it's done, then the next one, then the next one, then the next one. So he's permanently keeping this offline and farming it for money as long as this turret is alive, which is brutal. It sucks. So he got a bunch of free cash, and I do manage to push him away. It's not the end of the world. He does take all of these towers at the time, but that is just how it goes when you were doing this fast expand Grell strat, is there's a time where they're going to have units and you're not. So I'm used to it. But then my lashers start coming out real quick, and suddenly I have the map advantage. So I feel good. I send my guys to the high yield flux, and I notice he's on the high yield flux, and I'm like, well, this is awkward. And then I try to send a guy over, but then I mess up. Because Mana has the Needler. The Needler is the scariest unit in the history of RTS. I am not exaggerating. These things are the Endari Mercenary, and the way that they work is that they accrue quills over time for their attacks, and then they machine gun the quills out really, really fast. That means that their burst damage is unfathomable, particularly in the early game. And that means that these are like two of these, when they click on a hero, they just kill the hero in the early game, particularly because Aster can jump forward and stun. You have to respect them so much. So the moment I saw the Needlers, I'm like, nope, I'm out of here. I got so scared. I don't want to fight them. I'm going to die. They're not that bad in the later stages because they get the quills back kind of slow. They've also been nerfed by a significant margin. They're not nearly as good as they were during this tournament. But, yeah, they're horrifying. So I get the really fast Chakra boys again. I think it was in... Was it? Did I make the... Giant Grant Games. Stop getting the wrong temple first. They look the same. They look very similar. Like, I think their icons are really similar, and I can't remember which one is which. I need a mnemonic, because I want my crabs. The crabs are really good against the Needlers, because the Needlers attack really fast. Why do I keep doing this? These guys are not bad, and they, right now, they do bonus versus medium, but during the tournament, they did bonus versus harvesters, so this isn't bad at all. Unfortunately, he gets the flank on me, and he has these Shadow Leeches. The Shadow Leech is a unit that goes inside of your other units, and you get 3 of them for free when you pick it as your tier 2 talent, which it's not very good to do that unless you're going for a really, really, really aggressive play, because it gives you the momentary Shadow Leeches, but doesn't give you the passive power that a lot of the other ones have. It lets you build the Leech as well, but you don't want to do that because they're not worth building. You just want the free ones. But they go inside of your units and deal a damage over time, and then when that unit dies, they pop out and jump inside of other units, do damage over time. And Mana is in a pretty good spot here. He is not mining this high yield flux. That is a mistake. He hasn't recaptured this tower, and he's going for a very aggressive push. If he came from this way, I'd be feeling better, but he's using this high ground. Canyon has a big problem where it is specifically built to be really hard to see anything at any point in time. So, like, there's this high ground right next to your expansion, or all of these towers are on low grounds with ramps right next to them, so you feel really exposed and vulnerable a lot of the time, and it's very easy to attack your opponent from up here. Keep that in mind, because I'm gonna also do the same thing. So he jumps in, he has so many units, he is ready to do a bunch of damage, but I'm kiting, and remember what we've talked about before with these bases being very, very hard to attack into. So I can just poke and poke. I have my healing, nourishing pod over here, keeping me topped off. My mercenaries can come out of here, and I made a mistake here. I made a mistake. Because there is another mercenary called the Ghost Crab, and the Ghost Crab is just a Baneling. And it pops out of this structure. And I am so clackjaw coded that I made them instead of spawning 6 Banelings on top of the person who clumped up all of their light units right next to my Baneling factory. I thought about this after the match, and I was like, am I stupid? I could have just instantly won the game right here. If a bunch of ghost crabs popped out, it would have killed the entire army, and I would have looked like the greatest gamer in the history of mankind. But I forgot. I was under stress. I still push the fight back though, and I'm targeting the Needlers. I'm trying to get rid of them. Unfortunately, they do so much burst damage that they can kill the Clackjaws, which is disgusting. But I do kill the hero while he is recalling. And this is the first time that I feel very decent in this game, where he's poking around, he's getting more Needlers because they're fantastic. He's really looking to end the game kind of early. Our last one had gone very, very long, and I don't think he wanted to do that again because he had the advantage in the early stage against my macro, and I was able to keep it long, so I think he just wanted to finish me off before I got to that stage on even footing, which is very reasonable. But unfortunately for him, I have a decent army at this point. Once I get to about this stage in any game, I feel pretty okay against most anybody. I take a third base before... Oh no, he takes this third base. So I go for the triangle, he goes for the line. I don't know which one is better. I like the triangle. It's my favorite shape. And then he doesn't want to engage, so he just like comes over here with the Needlers and then runs away, tries to retake the towers, and we kind of end up in this dance for a little bit. And then I think this... Was this a good fight? No. It was me giving up. Not giving up the fight, I just didn't want to fight anymore. Then he keeps trying to go over here to snipe this Harvester, but I build Cultivator Defenders, which are little towers, and it doesn't work. But I want to fight because I don't like this Needler group that's being built up. So I try to force something, and I get one, and I feel very happy. And then I get another... Oh no, he does actually a great recall there. That was fantastic. But I really, really want to fight at this point because I feel like I have a power spike, and I'm on the top of this ramp, and it's real tough for mana right here. I managed to get one of the Needlers over here, and then I'm going for the ones here. I take another one down, and another one down, and then I target the hero. I retarget everything onto it as Aster jumps. And suddenly, even though the fight looks like it was a wash, it looks like I lost more than mana. I took down most of the Needlers and the hero, and that is what I always want to do against Protectorate, is I don't care how many commandos you have, I will win. I just have to take down the not commando stuff over and over. He also had a couple of the guys with the giant USB sticks, and I killed all of those as well. All of his technical complexity is gone. He just has a bunch of basic stuff. I have the complexity of the big boys and the Clackjaws, which is always nice. Send the big boys over here where the anti-heavy is, and send the Clackjaws over to where this is. This is just better positioning from my part. But unfortunately, he has the Hellfire out, which means I can't really fight. Except for the fact that I try anyway because I'm an idiot. No, I'm a brave and bold gamer. It doesn't go well. This guy, it's hard to state how much damage it does. It fires 18 times 6 damage with 100% splash damage over a radius, and it fires halfway across the moon. So instead, what I have to do is just kind of poke over and over and look for places that it is not. They take 100 and... not 100. They take 65 seconds to build, so I can kind of mentally just keep track of how many there should be, and then just keep poking around over and over and over. Someone just called me Granny on autocorrect. That's so funny. And then we make a little bit of base trade. I go over here. I charge this down because his Hellfire is out of position. He tries to use the USB sticks. Doesn't work. And then I'm like, okay, this is going good because I saw my Harvesters over here. I saw his army was split up. He goes and kills my 4th base. I'm like, I can go kill a base too. And then I'm like, actually, this is a really, really good position. I think I can kill this. Remember, I was just fresh off of the game with Marine Lord. So this entire idea was still fresh in my head. So what if I get the recall off perfectly this time? I still didn't know that I could recall to this base. I hadn't tried that. And I didn't set it up. I was just going to recall back to this. But I gave it an attempt. I killed the base, I get everybody stacked on top, and then it bugged out. And my units didn't recall. That wasn't good. I'd never seen that before. So that's not good. I watched the VOD of the commentators after the fact, and they thought it was because this base died, but I was trying to recall to this base. So, yeah, I used my recall, and all it did was put my guys in a giant circle, and I took a bunch of extra damage for a while, and then I was like, oh, that's awkward. I guess I'm walking home. This game is still in early access. And you can feel it sometimes. But I took the huge advantage here. Because I'm re-expanding, and I dealt with these. It is tough for Protectorate. I said this many times already, but Hexite is not as good for Grell as it is for Protectorate. So if he takes down my Hexite mining, and I take down his Hexite mining, but I have 10 freaking harvesters, which is the cap, he didn't deal damage to the part of the economy that matters as much for me as I did to the economy that matters for him. So I'm happy. Also, free stinger. Oh, why did I... Oh, I should not have done that. This is a bad infuse. Now I'm fighting with half an army. It will become a very good army eventually. But then it's good, and I have this surround, and I'm feeling very happy about things. And then the fun starts, because I have enough experience to get my ultimate Deep Nest. And we've seen the ultimate Deep Nest a couple of times, right? What is the key feature of the Deep Nest? Well, it spawns a bunch of units, it spawns up to 5 boomers, and then it makes Arcanids forever until it dies by running out of HP. The Chakru Cultist is a unit that can heal. And I had a couple because I'm playing Chakru. So I bring the Cultist over here and I start healing the Deep Nest. Now, you can do this if you are just playing Grell without mercenaries. You can put 5 nourishing pods next to one to keep it alive forever. That is significantly more expensive to do, which means that it works really nice with the Chakru. Also, you have to have the nourishing pods pre-set up and then spawn it. This is just a man who can walk over here, and this is intended. It's a very large investment to just get the little dudes out going forever. He spawns his ultimate, which is Soul Invictus. This man does a ton of damage. He has 3,000 hit points, and when he dies, he drops a nuke. So I have to run, and I have this infinite spawn of Arcanids. As you can see, it's not many. These have 5 HP each, so they do not, like, impact the game at this point. But they are infinite. So he's trying to make pressure because these don't have a lot of HP. Very, very easy to kill. You can take them down without a lot of effort if you get on top of them with basically anything. But they do have a 1-minute charge cooldown. So all I have to do is wait. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to take the tower. I'm going to push him off of the high yield flux, do a bit of damage, and then I realize actually I have the Hautoons. These are the Clackjaws, but on steroids. 1,000 hit points, 1 billion armor. They soaked a ton of damage. I cleared this up. I'm feeling quite nice here. Probably about time that I should make... Do I make the third one yet? Not quite. The boomers go onto the operating tower. All I want to do is keep this safe forever, because suddenly Mana is playing PvE. He is playing all in. And I am the NPC. I am Kerrigan here. And that feels good. So I can charge in with an attack. He takes it down, but I have enough stuff that I can hit the operating tower, finish it off, and leave. What is this? Like a red circle on my map that's coming with us. And then suddenly, we have the third one. As soon as he starts making a little bit of pressure, I can sit on this high ground, and I can hit him, and he has a hard time taking the fight. Then I have the Behemoth. The Behemoth puts the fire on the ground. It makes it really hard for him to push in. These all die in one hit, but who cares? Because there's so many of them. And it just keeps going, and going, and going, and going. Mana is going to get over 2,000 kills in this game. I think it was. Or, no. I think that was a different game I played against Cats, not on. But he gets like 1,000 kills, I think. And it does not matter. Because I got another one! And then he finally gives up. He realizes that he cannot stop the infinite swarm. It's a really interesting style of play, because the Grell, I think, is actually more akin to the Protoss most of the time. They have these very high-powered lashers. Like, you compare the lasher to the Commando or the Thrall, they are kind of like a Dragoon, where they're big, they're slow, they have long range and moderate durability. And then you infuse them to make them even stronger. My army is never big. And then suddenly, on a dime, hello, I'm making infinite units, and you now have to deal with the fact that I am the swarm. It is a very weird and interesting pivot that I find very cool, and I love this strategy. It's hard to set up, because everybody has powerful ultimate abilities, right? And everybody else's ultimate abilities have a lot more oomph when you use them. The Deep Nest, you have to very slowly accumulate over time, and it is, that was 4 minutes worth of work and a lot of top bar energy to do, but it's wholly unique and very interesting. As I said though, unfortunately, versus Mana, I did not get the save game for the other one, so we went 1-1, because these were best of 2s, and which is weird, but whatever. Then I only have one game against Nathanius, who was the final person I played in the group stage. These games were pretty fast. I won the first game. And then we play the second game. And we can kind of blitz through this. This is the only Grell versus Grell I played. As I said at the beginning of this, I picked Grell because nobody else was playing Grell in this frickin' tournament, and I wanted to have faction representation. I'm at the top, Nathanius is at the bottom. No. No, I'm at the bottom, Nathanius is at the top. Sorry, excuse me. I clicked on this and I got confused. I just see Grell and I think it's me. This is kind of a hard one to follow because there's 2 Vinthras. Fortunately, they are color-coded. We do have our little Vinthra fight. And he actually does well here. He infuses a seedling to make it a scout flyer, which he uses to get an emergency consume, because I had killed the previous seedling. That was actually really smart, and he won the Vinthra fight as a result. In Grell versus Grell, I'm sure you've played a mirror match inside of a RTS before, and you know that there's 2 types of mirror matches. There is either the mirror match where you cannot expand, or the mirror match where you cannot kill your opponent. You're either way too good defensively against the mirror, or you are way too bad defensively against the mirror. And unfortunately, Grell versus Grell, not even I'm trying to expand in this matchup. I gave up. You have to go 1 base, tons of lashers, and your mercenary camp, otherwise you will just be murdered. So I do that. Nathanius doesn't know that, or he is just trying to make expanding work, and he's working on stingers. Stingers are the basic unit of the Grell. They're small, they do melee damage. I would say that they're most similar to like a Footman, maybe, from Warcraft 3. They're definitely not Zergling-esque, but they're not like Zealot-esque either. I don't know, they're hard to explain, and I don't think that they are good. They die way too easily to AoE. Because there's a lot of just inherent AoE from the heroes in this game, and that makes it rough. They are pretty quick though, which is nice. So he goes for a lot of them, and I'm going for the lashers. I'm also going for the Tobots so I can pull things in and have the heal, and you're about to see why the Stinger is not good. I move up here. I get a very nice position. These are infused Stingers, so they are doing extra damage and have extra HP. But remember, I told you about that Tobot strategy that I have where I go for the thing to get the extra hounds. You can kind of see the hounds here, right in the VFX, but they have a lot of HP. And that's it. So the hounds are in the front, they're getting healed. And he tries to fight. He tries to get on top of these lashers. But it just doesn't work. Stingers are just really bad. So I don't lose a unit, and he gives up because it is 60 to 22 supply. I don't know what to say. Stingers just... every time I have tried them, the result is pretty similar. I know they got buffed in the most recent patch. I'm gonna have to give them a try, but I didn't really lose a unit there. It's just really strong. So, what ended up happening at that point is the group stage was done. Very, very cool. And I was in 3rd place out of 6 in the group stage. It was Marine Lord on number 1, Mana number 2, me number 3. The reason being is because I dropped that game against Pig. If I had beaten Pig 2-0, I would have been tied with Mana for that, and we would have had to do another head-to-head because they take the head-to-head score, and we went 1-1 in our series. So we would have had to play again. But instead, I was in 3rd, and then I don't remember who was 4th, 5th, and 6th. Didn't really matter to me. So what I did was I took a look at the rules, and the rules that I was given said that the top 4 advance, or rather the top 2 of each advance to the round of 4, and then they play a bracketed finals. So I got ready to go to the store. I did a little write-up on the Discord, and I was like, that was fun, guys. I had a really good time, and I did way better than I thought I would. Getting 3rd in this group of really good players felt phenomenal. I was really happy with it, and I took a game off of Mana, who I have a lot of respect for. So cool. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna get food and get ready for food. I'm very hungry. Figure all that stuff out. And then I sat down at my PC, and I had a DM from Hearthstone. I'm like, okay, we're gonna play. I was like, huh? What? Yeah, apparently I had the old version of the rules. The new version for the way the tournament was going to work was that the 3rd place in the group plays against 2nd place in the other group. The reason for that is that you would be able to, if there was one group that was way too good and another group that wasn't good enough, then you could, it wouldn't be fair, right? But this is a way, if you crisscross the groups for one final match, then it means that if one group is too stacked, which it was our group, that's what everybody was saying, our group was the group of death. If one of the groups was too stacked, then this way makes it more fair. I didn't know about this, so I was really hungry, and I was like, okay, it's time to play. I guess I'm not done. So, surprise, more games. So it's time to play against Hearthstone, who got 2nd place in his group, only losing to Showtime, who is the best Protoss player in Europe. I'm playing the Grell up here. Hearthstone is playing the Imperium. You may have noticed that my Imperium matchup so far is pretty bad, so we're going to see how this first game goes. I don't remember this game. It sucked. I was not ready for it. I had to pee really badly too, but I realized I'd got the DM like 10 minutes earlier, and that I was really hungry, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I felt awful, and I was kind of just like, yeah, just beat me, please. I don't want to be here anymore. I was really happy with the way things had gone, but they were casting the games, and I was really thrown off for this one. I was not ready to play, and it shows. So what ends up happening, I do try my best, you know. I come over here, he uses Galvax's ability to instantly obliterate the creeps. I go and try to grab the 2nd tower. And yeah, I am expanding, as I should be. He's getting his expansion and his other stuff. He went for a very fast mercenary tavern. And I just try to be annoying and take the towers over and over and over again, because as I said, I just don't have units in the early game, so I have to not lose the XP advantage if I can. But now I have a Lasher, that makes me feel good. Galvalax is going to do his thing, and then I think I mess up here really bad. I face tank the Fireball. Do I die? I might die. No, that actually went fine. Yeah, go home. Hey, I did go home. I made all the right decisions. This went perfectly. What a great play from Giant Grant Games. So we get into a normal game. He has a ton of supply, as always. I don't have that much. But I have the ability to make engages hard because I can always throw down the acid blob, and then that'll kill all your stuff if you push through. And then he comes in with a really good flank right as I am bringing my guys to the Rich Flux. Rich Flux is always worth it, but it's so hard to get. And then I'm cut off, and he is going for the Dread Corsair Sniper. You know how I've given you a list of units that have been nerfed since this tournament? Well, I think I have given you the entire list at this point, with the exception of the Dread Corsair Sniper, the Deadeye. This guy does 50 damage against light. They melt lashers. It is disgusting. My win rate against the sniper is exceptionally low. It is the single thing that I am worst against in this entire game. I also went for them. The reason being is that in this matchup, it alternates who has to pick the mercenaries first. And he was going for the Deadeye, and I'm like, yeah, I might as well try to do the same thing and see what I can do. You know, they're really strong against me. Maybe they're good against him too. I don't want to use the Chaw Crew against this. Even though I guess I would have lost. Or yeah, I could have kept using it if I lost. I gotta remember how these rules work, man. But I'm just like, yeah, whatever happens here. I'm gonna try my darndest, but man, it's tough. As you can see, they have so much range and do so much burst damage that losing the lashers just keeps happening. It's very easy to get peeled apart, and it hurts. So I have to seed control the mid, but I'm like, I gotta do something here, otherwise I'm just gonna die. Hearthstone does a very good job at targeting down the lashers in the back. I have a couple of the keepers, which make all those small dudes. The keeper are not as good against the Legion because they have so many tiny dudes to kill the Arcanids. But we brawl a little bit. It goes okay. I have to pull back, though. I'm feeling pretty bad. We have 3 bases. He has 3 bases. And then I just kind of die. That's really it. Nothing really spectacular happens. Just every time I try to poke somewhere, I get hit by the snipers over and over again. He's got a lot of stuff. He fires the AoE over and over, which means I have to retreat. In the same way that Vinthra is very good at stopping fights because of her AoE, Galvalax is the same. With the exception that if you stand in Galvalax's AoE, you basically instantly lose the game, because it does like 10 times as much damage. It's easier to dodge though, of course, because it's very big and slow. But I kind of just push a little bit, and it doesn't work. Because there's a lot of these snipers. He has a healing obelisk here to make sure that his snipers cannot be dove by a couple of units, and I tap out because he's got twice the supply I do. It was a rough one. I genuinely don't know how to deal with the Deadeye. It is one of those things that I'm continuing to learn in the game. I'm sure it's doable. 100%. There's no way that it's unstoppable. It did get nerfed, so it should feel better now. But yeah, Hearthstone, in game number 1, Hearthstone crushed me. This was the most one-sided game of me losing in the tournament so far. So I wasn't feeling super good going into game number 2. However, we had a bit of a positive thing happen to me. That positive thing is that my game crashed. My game crashed and my screen became completely green. I'm going to post nah, I don't want to post a picture in the Discord. I don't want to. But yeah, this game has some stability issues sometimes. My game crashed, it became completely green, and I couldn't do anything, like the screen wouldn't let me tab out or anything, so I had to restart my PC. And guess what you can do in the 2 minutes it takes your PC to restart? You can shove a bunch of food in your mouth. You can take a drink of, what is this? Waterloo Sparkling Water Blackberry Lemonade. Doesn't taste like it, but it is hydration. Sure doesn't have much flavor. You can shove a bunch of food in your mouth, you can go to the bathroom, and you can drink. And suddenly, I was ready to play an average game of ZeroSpace. I got really lucky for the crash. Really, really, really lucky. I think it saved me, because now I was able to actually fight against him. Let's get the production tab up. And this is kind of second verse, same as the first, except for he does not have access to the sniper. I don't remember which he was going for here. Maybe Miran? I don't remember. But here, I feel pretty good. He takes this. I'm still fighting over here. Just takes Vinthra longer. That's just how it goes. And then there's always a little bit of thought here on where you go. This is a very complicated map with the towers. There's a lot of like metagaming each other. Because if you go here and your opponent goes to this one first, they can take this, then this, then this. Also, there's so many things. This was being cast on Wardy's channel, and there was like 5 observers. So I apologize if you're looking at the minimap. There's going to be 15 different people's viewports, which is ridiculous. We do not need to see these. It's very funny. Was I like the only Grell player? There were a couple. Me, Showtime, Nathanius, I think were the 3. Loco as well, but I didn't play against Loco. He was in the other group. So there's a lot of weird metas on which towers you want to go to first and stuff. But I think that statistically the best way to do it is just hit the middle every time. There's a lot of weird game theory though. He goes over to what is my tower, and I noticed that, so I go over to what is his tower and try to take it. Oh, made the game really slow. Loco didn't have a good time. I didn't check the scores on the other group. How did that group go? I know that Showtime and Harstum got out, but that's all that I know. Oh, and Jason, because it was the top 3. So this time, it's looking a little bit more even. I like to do the recall here and then run down, because you can tell when they're recapping the towers and they have everything in the middle. So you can get this one for free. Loco was 05. It was stacked. Even Grandmaster players have a really tough time in this type of tournament. Oh, he was Endari. Yeah, because you can do Endari twice. Yeah, he likes the Needlers. And everybody likes the frickin' Needlers right now. Because, that was it. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I took a bunch of damage there, but I did get the recall. I get scammed in this game. Spoiler alert. I get scammed and I want to complain about it because it wasn't fair. And I need empathy because only I saw it. Only I saw the travesty that happened in this video game. That made me almost resigned to my fate. We'll see it in a moment. He's got a lot of dudes. My dudes, I don't remember where they are. But we're doing a fight over here. I dive away, and then suddenly, oh no, when does it happen? Does it not happen in this game? Was it against Marine Lord? Might have been. My army is good though. As always, I eventually get into, well, not as always. Sometimes I forget to build the crab guys and I accidentally build the humans instead. That's a mistake. I have a good position here though. He tries to come up for a flank, but this is actually great for me. I'm very happy with it, and I'm able to force him back. He uses the fireball to force me back. And I can start taking these mid towers. We're going to fight over them for a long time, and then we're going to be capping our own towers. I need to be capping my own. I'm not doing that right now. I'm a little bit hyper-focused. There we go. I send a guy over to do it. And he wants to dive in and get all the needler damage he can do. And I don't want him to do that. I want him to needle the crabs. If he needles the crabs, he wastes so much damage. If he needles the hero or the lashers, it basically instantly kills them, and I cry. And he fires off the fireball over and over again, and it's really this for a bit, is this constant dance. It is a symptom both of the Grell, the Imperium, and the map design all kind of coming together, where even when you want to fight, like I kind of do right now, you can't make people go to war. So we're just equal on towers, over and over and over again. I have the rich flux, but then he comes over here right as I move out, because I wanted to take these guys down for some free shaving. And he's going for a third base. I don't remember if I go for a third base. I think that I decide to power really hard and go up to, yeah, 8 harvesters. That's huge. Remember that it's 3 harvesters per 2 with Imperium, so he's far lower on his harvester count. The flux income is just not as good on his end. And it's going to get better and better and better for me. That was the part of economy I was investing in, and I just was like, yeah, I can power off of these 2 bases a lot. And I think it was a good plan. He has 2 heroes at this point. Oh, big fire damage right here, but I managed. Do I get Inquisitress here? I try to. I try to go for her really, really hard, but I don't manage it because his micro is superb. This is the problem that I have with Imperium, which is it's really hard to get practice against them. Because everybody that plays Imperium on the ladder is bad. I don't want to be rude, but Harstum has some of the best micro in the world, right? He is a very experienced RTS player. So when you play the faction with 3 separate heroes, this man just doesn't lose the heroes when I'm used to being able to kill them. I need a lot more practice against really good people like him so that I can judge the fights better, because I was like, yeah, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to kill it. It's going to be so good. And then Hearthstone is just like, no, I have good micro. And I'm like, oh no, that's not good. He gets his 3rd hero out. He does let me kill the dog, which I hate. It makes me angry, and now I'm mad. You don't do that. You don't make me kill dogs in RTS. It is my biggest pet peeve. So now I have to destroy him. That is what I've decided. My army's actually pretty good here. And then, oh, I do get the Inquisitress. She actually jumps away, but I managed to get the kill. And then we're doing the same thing as always. I love this Chakru build. It just keeps on working, where you get the 2 different types of tank units so that the opponent cannot hard counter one of them. Eventually they all die, but we have the talent that makes them respawn every 90 seconds. You just keep remaking them over and over and over again, and the Lasher Ball in the back builds up. I find this base, and that's fantastic. Just good roaming and scouting on my part. And then I just recall. I don't know if the recall was necessary. I had been hurt so many times in this tournament based off of sniping bases and not properly recalling. I'm like, I'm just going to safety do it. I don't know what's going to happen, man. If it breaks, then I need to be prepared for it to break early. I don't know. So I just do it. It was a good play. Killed the base for free. He's starting to get a lot of tech, and we are going to see the Imperium in their full might very soon, which is everybody has their upgrades and life gets bad. But we have to dance for a little bit more. As the armies get bigger and bigger, it becomes harder and harder to push through this area too, so it just becomes worse. And he makes me kill the dog again. He keeps losing it, and it's important for me because the dog is a hero. It is Rhaegar's like little pet guy, but he gives you experience when you kill him just like a hero, and he takes a long time to respawn. So I'm getting free value there. And this is a big old army. The Inquisitress now has the ability to sacrifice thralls for HP. I think it's automatic. It's very, very strong. And I pushed him back, and I was like, I knew he was trying to take expansions over here, so if he's trying to expand, I might as well just push it again. I get a good position, and then suddenly he comes and he wants to engage. I've finally forced a fight, which I've been struggling with this entire time. I have a good fan out here. He does kill 2 of the Lashers with the fireball. And then the bad is about to happen. The Inquisitress charges in. I do get the kill on her. Oh, this is really good. These Drakes have a huge linear AoE damage. Like, it's a very long and thin line, but it does tons of damage. These are an Andari mercenary, and he wants to snipe my units with them. And right as he starts to do it, I snipe them both down. Solid target firing on my part. Those things can be good. And then suddenly, he has his second Disruptor Ball out. This is Rhaegar's upgrade. He usually just does damage in a line. It's not too bad. But once you get the nuke upgrade, it puts a little reticle down for a moment, and then that hurt. I want to take a moment to go back and look at the supply change right there because it was devastating. I was crushing this game. If you remember, Grell is supposed to be lower on supply. I'm up 109 to 71. And then suddenly, this ability comes out, and it takes me from 109 to 87 in one shot. And this ability has like a 10-second cooldown. It hurts so bad. And suddenly, I now have 2 different Disruptor-style abilities to fight with, or fight against. And this is where I do not do well. Fortunately, I have my Tree of Life. The Tree of Life does have the ability to restore people back to life. Instead of the Deep Nest, which I've been going for before, I went for this because, well, I lost a bunch of units and I wanted to get them back. But like, oh my goodness, that hurts so bad. This is not as much long-term pressure. It's more of a one and done, get units respawn type thing. It's great. It's really, really strong, but it doesn't have the level of inevitability. And it's not making me new stuff. It's making up for the fact that I got hit by a crazy AoE. and then I lose a decent bit of it again. I am so bad against the combo play, the fireball plus the targeted AoE thing, because I don't have experience against disruptors because I just quit StarCraft Ladder when they were meta, because I don't enjoy them. So that probably is going to hurt me. Yet my army is still pretty good, but he keeps shaving. He's so good at dropping these in good positions. And it really hurts. I try to have a fanned spread out line. What I want to do is hit this base, take it down, move back, and take down this base, and then win the game. But I can't do it. This is his monolith. That's one of his ultimates. It's a crazy powerful turret, and he gets another one out! At this point, it's like Grant is throwing. I was in such a good spot, but I'm like, okay, I need to chill. I need to think. I need to stop being stressed. I lost so many units that my infuse is really high. And I have this is my ultimate tree of life, but the talent above that is Bloom Fascination. Units can be infused a second time and get 50 current and max power to infuse stuff with. So I just got that. I do an infuse, and then I think I infuse a second time on my behemoth. It takes a lot of top bar to infuse the behemoth a second time, which is really, really, really good, because this is actually my end game strategy. The Chakru have a talent that I decided to pick that gives 1 armor and 30% lifesteal to all of your units. So if you combined that with the infuse, which increases your HP and your damage output, then suddenly you have the greatest capital ship in the history of biology. That was another really good shot. Welcome to my behemoth. Watch its HP. Every time that it attacks, it just gains a bunch back. He tried to target it down. Didn't really matter. It is gaining more and more and more HP. It takes very dedicated, concerted efforts to kill these guys. It is a ton of resources on my part. Titanic amount of resources, but it's so good. And the reason that I go for this is because the fireball does not hit air and the nuke shot does not hit air, and I cannot dodge them on the ground. I'm not good enough. So I'm just going to have a capital ship army of flying giant behemoths. And I figure if he can't hit me with the thing that I struggle against, I should win. Hey, look at that. I dodged an attack. That's rare. So now we're kind of even. He charges in another insane shot, man. He's so good at that. He's really, really, really good at it. But it doesn't matter because my behemoth count is going crazy. These things are titanically expensive. Just take a look at the difference in the production tab right now. I'm on 4 bases, he's on 3. I am spending all of my money properly. And so is he. I can afford to build 5 units because these behemoths are so freaking expensive. But it's worth it. It's so good. If you can get them all infused and crazy, then you really have to go for the highest tier stuff. There are the Dreadnought, which is the big flyer that the Legion can make that you can attach different hardpoints to. And that has amazing anti-air weapons, but it's a big investment, and the Lashers are actually pretty good against it. So we have multiple infused. It's like a whole behemoth family at this point. And they do amazing damage. How much do you do? It says 30 DPS. I don't believe that for a moment. It is 30 DPS. Oh, plus 200% versus heavy, which it doesn't matter right now. But it does 60 damage per attack in an area. And that means they just keep healing up over and over and over again. Now, he has the lightning guys that actually do a ton of damage against heavy, and they do more every time they attack. But I was prepared for this. I let a couple of my behemoths die, then I placed down the Tree of Life that I had off cooldown, and suddenly, they're all back. I didn't have any Lashers for it to waste the respawns on. He drops his ultimate turret to try to snipe the tree, but I take down the turret, and suddenly, we're both actually on a fairly low unit count, but my low unit count is a constantly respawning, giant life-regenerating capital ship that has siege range, and he's got thralls. That's a pretty good matchup for me. So he dies. And suddenly I'm like, wait a moment, can I beat Hearthstone? Because Hearthstone is insanely good. But I took a game, and I was like doing really well until I almost threw it. And then I managed to win with the transition even after almost throwing it. So we go into game number 3, and this is the final one that we have for today because unfortunately the Marine Lord VODs are also, or rather the Marine Lord replays didn't download, but you can watch those on Wardy's channel if you want. But we're gonna go into game number 3. And in this game, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit, my entire strategy of everything that I wanted to do throughout this entire tournament was make Grell fast expanding work. I had been so diligent trying to do it over and over and over and over and over again. And then this game, I completely, totally change it up. Because honestly, I'm tired of the freaking Needlers, dude. The Needlers are so imba. I don't want to lose to the Needlers. I'm tired of them. And he gets to be Andari again, so he gets to Needle because he didn't lose. So I go Andari as well. I can't do Chalker. If you've noticed, my Chalker win rate is insane, and my everything else win rate's not very good. I kind of figured out the thing I like to do, and now I have to figure out how to play the other mercenary factions. But this time, I very intentionally mix it up and not go for that fast expand, and I try to catch him off guard. Because Galvalax always one-shots the towers, which means that the best thing to do is go mid, one-shot a tower, then go to one of the sides and one-shot a tower. It is so fast that other people have a hard time contesting. I go over to Hearthstone's tower, and I try to take them because I know he's going to go mid, and I figure that will cause him to come over here, and then he just goes this way. He takes my tower. It's really rude. If I had taken that tower, then he would have been he wouldn't have had anybody to kill there. Why did he go there? He was supposed to go up here and be like, oh, there's nothing here. That sucks. And then I used my burrow to go over here and grab this. It was so smart, and then it didn't do anything. I'm trying to out mind game him. And it just didn't work, and I feel really stupid. So anyway, the bad boy Hearthstone has decided that it is time to do his stuff. One thing I noticed is he wasn't scouting. He was just blindly assuming that I was taking my expansion every time, and he was correct. So I'm going for the more one-based focus. This is the standard Grell play. You get your mercenary compound, you get triple lasher production, and you get a couple rounds of lashers. Oh, yep, that's a good fight right there for both of us, actually. I had the ambush up here, and I tried to target down Galvalax, but he had enough Needler damage that he managed to make it a wash and get away. But I also didn't lose anything, so it was fine on both sides. Maybe I could have done better, but now I have Needlers. And Needlers are really, really, really good. And he is probably not prepared for me to have Needlers at this point, because he is used to me taking the expansion first, where everything is slower. So he kind of aggressively moves here, and I just go. I'm just going, and using the insane Needler burst damage to almost kill Galvalax. Once again, I'm so used to players that are not as good as Hearthstone, and that man doesn't lose stuff. He's really good at keeping his stuff alive. So I was a little caught off guard there. I'm like, wait a moment. That's not how this is supposed to go. I set up a huge arc, though. And then I hit the side slow. And I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can kill him this time. I'm going to go for it. I soak the fireball hit intentionally, and I kill Galvalax. I walked right through the AoE. It's time to deal some damage. These are the barracks. This is his production. I'm like, okay. It allows you a defensive position, but I have lasher range. It's very tough to attack into this. So I just go. And I think that I start expanding soon. I decide that I'm feeling quite happy with what has happened. What I want to do is force him to upgrade the tower on his thing, and then I will leave. What I didn't know is he was building another hero out of this, and if I had sniped this, I would have been in such a good position. I didn't actually know what this building was. I haven't played much Legion, And I didn't know this is where the heroes come from because it doesn't look like it. It's not like big and grandiose and powerful. So I didn't recognize what it was. If I'd killed this, I would have won the game right here. But I didn't. And instead I'm kiting back and forth. He gets in close and I target down the needlers every time. Because if he doesn't have the needlers, he doesn't have a win. Do I keep going here? Yeah, I do. I'm so brave and bold. But then the Inquisitress comes out. That's 2 heroes, very strong. And suddenly I don't quite have the damage I need, and I kill the Hero Maker now. But it's a bit late. But I'm really happy here. I cannot be upset. I'm killing some of his harvesters. I finally force him to upgrade to a tower. And that's what I was looking for. It's a big resource gain. You cannot cancel it. Very intentionally. That's a design choice. So now I just leave. It is fine. Now I get hit by the very final bug that I have to deal with in this entire game. And it's a little bit of a skill issue. So right now what I've decided is I'm going to take map control. And I'm going to tech up to tier 3 to make the Endari Mercenaries highest tier unit, the Devourer. These things are really, really good. Good harassment by Hearthstone, by the way. Use Inquisitress to knock me off of all this. I don't think he actually gets a kill here, but he does pull me back and force me home. Now he knows he's safe. I have an expansion out. It's fine. I'm getting all of my tech. But yeah, he's just very annoying with this lady. Very, very good play. So where is it? What is happening? Oh, yes. Here's what ends up happening. You can't actually see it right now, but as I told you guys, the way that it works is if you want to queue up your stuff to get higher tech, you don't have to do it one at a time in ZeroSpace, and it's very cool. So what you can do is you can build your tier 2 incubator, and then right when the little hallucination thing shows up saying you have it queued, you can queue the Synapse Canopy, which requires the incubator. So this will build, and then it finishes, and then this will build. I needed to build the Elder Womb, which is the thing right on top of it. It is the tier 3 that requires this. So I had that queued as well. Unfortunately, the queue breaks sometimes. I've noticed that it seems to happen with the Elder Womb more so than other stuff. I don't know exactly why. But this guy, you can actually see him looking at the place that I had clicked for it to be built. On my screen, it still had the hallucination queued up, and as you can see, I have the money. I think it costs $150 and $50. It is not expensive. I don't have like an expansion or anything queued up. I'm literally just waiting for this thing to be built and finished so I can make a bunch of the tier 3 mercenary and do a crazy push. And it's bugging out. I build some nourishing pods, and then finally when I come back to build these pods, I notice it didn't build. And I make it here. And I was like, dude, my timing is going to be 2 minutes later than I wanted it to be. I should have already been, I should have attacked already. I should have already been in his face with my units. And instead, I'm getting the production structure right now. However, it does get additional charges as time goes on, right? The mercenaries, you can get up to 4 charges. So when it finishes, I am able to spend all of my flux. And I get 3 of these bad boys. And they're super, super cute. Super adorable. I like them. They run around. I think that they have the look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's so cute. He's got like his smile and he's got his buck teeth and the eyes kind of look like he has like anime blush. Do you know what I mean? He's like, ooh, slug senpai. I really like him. He's so goofy. I love them so much. Yeah, they're like a cute little ground whale slug. They also destroy worlds. They are ridiculously good. And they do big damage in an area. So I still have a good army. You can see that when Kragar doesn't have the nuke upgrade, his shot's fine. It's truly, truly fine. But I bring all these guys in, and I start going for the base. I know I have a real good advantage here. He's upgrading this base into the Defender Tower. If the tower pops out, has 3,000 HP, and can start attacking, then I'm going to have to pull back because it's going to do so much. But this army sucks. I put Hearthstone really far back, and he's clearly teching into something. So all I have to do is keep the momentum up. These guys also have 1200 HP, so they can kind of sit inside of the fireball and they don't care as much. They also vomit on everything. That's how they attack. It's very derpy, but it does big damage in an area. So I kill the base before it becomes a tower. And then, oh. Yeah, so he was going for a devour as well. That was going to be the thing, but for some reason on the replay interface, it was invisible until it died. I don't know why that was. I have no idea. Very funny, though. Then he gets, he has the Inquisitress, but watch this fight. Just watch Hearthstone's army. These guys soak so much damage, and they do so much area damage that it's just a death area of vomit. They're an incredible, incredible timing attack unit that even though this timing is like 2 minutes later than it was supposed to be, are still so powerful. And I know that if I go for the base, I can get the win here. Hearthstone doesn't want to give up, clearly, because why would you? This is elimination from the tournament, and then he does give up because he has nothing. And that was me winning 2-1 versus Hearthstone, which I was shocked about. I was shocked about, because Hearthstone is amazing, and I am friends with Hearthstone. And I know he would never let me live it down if he had 2-1'd me, or if he had 2-0'd me. If he had beaten me in any way, shape, or form, he would make fun of me for a decade. So I had to win, not because of the tournament, not because of honor, not because I'm a better player, but because it would have been really annoying if I had lost. And yeah, that brought me to the top 4 of the tournament. I don't think that I played super duper well throughout the entire thing. As I said, after I played all of these things, I then woke up 2 days later, and I instantly understood how to play the Grell expansion style way better. And it's been working out super well. But at the same time, I cannot complain. As I said, the final replays didn't work. If you want to watch the VODs, you can do it on Wardy's channel. I play against Marine Lord twice. It says Marine Lord here, but he was observing the game. It's just me and Hearthstone. For some reason, the replay stuff is so weird. It's just like Hearthstone, Giant Grant Games, and this man for some reason. There were 8 people in this game observing, but we're just going to say players Marine Lord. I don't get it. Yeah, Marine Lord annihilated me. Marine Lord won the tournament going 15-1. The only person that took a game off of him was Showtime, and that was just a one-off, and then he crushed through everybody else and turned them into goo. So I am not at all upset losing to him. As you saw right here, I actually played a moderately okay game against him. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't like a Bronze Leaguer versus a Grandmaster or something. He was just very slightly better than me in every single angle, and he was very good at making it compound. He's just fantastic. So yeah, I got 4th in the tournament, or top 4 or whatever. I don't know what you want to call it, but I was supposed to not do that. I was supposed to not do that. Like, genuinely, I was supposed to be like in the bottom half. I was here to have a fun time and be the haha PvE content creator. Let's see how he does against all of these people that have won actual physical tournaments of RTS, like in front of thousands of people, and then Giant Grant Games, and I beat some of them, and that's all I can ask for. I was so proud, I was so happy, I had a really fun time, and I'm never doing it again. Just putting that out there, because I will never do better than this. All I can do is go down from here. Oh, yeah, it was a lot of fun. ZeroSpace multiplayer is really, really legitimately fantastically fun. I like it a lot. I don't like playing against Imperium. I really, really, really don't like playing against Imperium. It's so frustrating. I hate them so much. The hero design makes me really, really sad every time they get the double AoE online. But everything else in the game I really enjoy. And I had a fantastically fun time. I'm sorry today's stream was probably a little bit more boring than the rest of it, but I just kind of wanted to talk about what I did and why. I'm sorry the replays didn't work properly. I'm sorry that they didn't all download. It was all kind of a mess, but people were asking about how it went from my perspective because I didn't stream it or anything because I wasn't feeling good. And I felt like I should just share that. So we're going to be back to doing some StarCraft stuff tomorrow. That'll be a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.